back. We're back at the pod. Back on the nerds are back in town. Yeah. It's been a hot minute, obviously, since we last recorded or released an episode, for that matter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because we recorded episode 3 a really long time ago, and then we said a bunch of things. Do you want to go over it?
It's actually going to be pretty funny because I still plan on releasing that episode prior to this one. Yeah, I mean it's virtually edited. Just a lot of like things came up between that time. So, and there's also me obviously working through some challenges of my own and having a family and podcasting. So, but working hard on getting back on the ball with things. Jeez, what did we talk about that last episode?
The only thing I can remember is Travis.
Oh, man. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it was brought up in an episode of ours that we needed to convert Travis, at least for Star Wars' sake. You made a very valid point too in one of the episodes about how did you send him his 5 cents?
He got paid his 5 cents, and we're gonna have to pay him 5 for this one as well.
Okay, but, all right.
He was paid, and the whole idea of the third episode, which if you're listening in order, you'll know. We said that we should get Travis to watch the Star Wars movies because he doesn't like them, and he would just record them and give us his thoughts on what the movie was like for him as someone who doesn't like Star Wars. So that plan is gonna fall through because when Andor came out, I got recommended on YouTube a few Rogue Squadron scenes, like when they're attacking Scarif. And I was thinking to myself, and I'm like, this isn't even really just a good Star Wars movie. This is just like an action movie that someone might watch. And then I recommended Travis Rogue Squadron. And he was like, I'll give it a shot. And when Travis says he'll give it a shot, he's not going to watch it he's never going to watch it. And if he does, it's 2 years down the road when he does. I know. Wait, what have you been trying to get him to watch for the longest time?
Oh my gosh, man! What haven't I been trying to get that kid to watch?
So, it was Psych. Psych was the best.
Psych is one of them. But do you know that I've been trying to get his behind to watch this movie? It's on Disney Plus, man. It doesn't take much. It's a quick watch. It's called Heavyweights. It's got Ben Stiller in it.
Okay.
Kenan Thompson. And a vast array of other child actors that just like made that movie so spectacular. The kid that played Goldberg in The Mighty Ducks, he was in it. Oh God!
It does say from the creator of Mighty Ducks. Yeah,
and it was a very, very funny movie. Now as an adult, when I watched it, I don't know. Yeah, it still carries the humor, but I have a lot of quotables from Ben Stiller from that movie alone. And anytime I quote it, Travis will look at me like I have 3 eyes, and I'll be like, bro, have you still not watched Heavyweights? And he attacks me with no, Nate, and I probably never will. Just like Psych, which here's the thing with him and Psych, right? It's not even in space, bro. It's not even in space. I don't know
if we covered this in the last episode, but in the office we were like one day rattling off things. I was like, "Do you like aliens?" Because I was trying to get like a gauge of the movies that he watches, and it was like, "Nah, I don't like aliens." It's like, okay, and I was like, I forget what the other ones I listed, but I listed I was keep listing movies, and he wasn't really into them. But I realized that he didn't like space movies. And I was like, okay, this is a pattern. And I was like, do you play like video games in space? Do you watch TV shows about space? He's, I don't like the space scene. So Travis is a little spacist.
Oh, 100%.
Well, we'll go further in the podcast.
Yes, we will.
Yes. He's got to earn his nickel when we talk about him. Yeah. But he's reforming a little bit. Because as I was saying with Rogue One, he he watched it and he liked it so much he actually watched not only all the Star Wars movies but also a bunch of the TV shows in chronological order nonetheless. I mean, he had things to say.
Yeah, he was able to carry on a full-on conversation about the whole thing.
He made a reference to Star Wars like 2 days after he watched his like second or third movie, and I looked at him and I smiled so wide. I was like, I'm actually proud of you. I'm actually proud of you.
The other thing that is pretty surprising about this change was throughout his time, Travis actually recorded a bunch of reviews on it. And I still think that merits like a special episode. I think that's going to be something where you and I will have to sit and play back to back the clips and just like discuss what he's saying. I think though they are very funny, and the only way to present it to everybody listening to Pod of Nerds, obviously, is by laying it out in an episode so that you can catch everything he's saying, but then, you know, we can also get our 2 cents in. I do know he's being stubborn about some other Star Wars related things, though.
Don't get me started. I was looking up some information that we're probably going to end up going later, and I got an ad for Andor, and I think I said it in the last episode. Andor is by far, my personal opinion, some of the best Star Wars content we've gotten from Disney, and Disney has made, in my opinion, has made some good things. I think Mandalorian, I like the Bad Batch, you know what I mean? Boba Fett was a little slow during the second half, but I really liked the beginning with like living with the Tusken Raiders and all that. And I understood why they slowed it down at the end, but it just got slow. But, you know, I'm all for Visions, all that. I like a lot of what they're doing. But Andor takes the cake for me. Good 12 episodes. It was long. None of the episodes felt wasted. The story arcs or things like you felt character loss. Like, it's impressive to have that good of a TV show when you know the character's never gonna die. Not a lot of bad things can happen to him because he's going, but like just to see that story and everything, and that's his big problem is he knows, because he saw Rogue One first, he knows he dies. So, spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't watched that movie or listen to anything that happened about when they got the Death Star plans, that it was at a great loss. So sorry about that. But yeah, it's just such a great show, and he won't watch it because he's like, nah, I know he dies, so it's like it doesn't matter. And I'm like, yeah, but no, that's the great thing about the show is like you'll care about it even though you know that.
It seems like too, we get worked up, like you and I get worked up when he says that easily. Yeah,
because like it's worth watching even though you know that, and that's what makes it such a great show. Mm-hmm. And right now we're running a bet. I won't go fully into it, but I'm running a bet between me and him about getting some work done, and if we all get it, he was virtually obligated, I guess, to watch Andor. So
yeah,
and I made sure to put that like as a last minute addition. I was like, you have to watch Andor, like, please, for the love of God, it's been forever. And I think if I lose, I have to watch a movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh yeah, because you know,
yeah,
that's his universe.
Yeah, that's what he was like. You got to watch it, man. And he showed me some Paul Rudd clips. I don't mind Paul Rudd, man. Yeah, of course he's funny.
Yeah.
So I'll probably end up watching it anyways, even if I win. But it's really, which is like easy because he would sit there and say like, you know, watch this. I'm like, yeah, if it's on a streaming service or something and I get it in the way, I'll find it. But man, tell him to watch one fucking show, even after he watched so much.
Yep.
This man put like hours and hours and hours. He was like watching multiple, and like sometimes like in a rise, like, dude, I can't stop watching. And I'm like, yeah, it's a great show. The
funniest part was Sony put out the free games for PlayStation Plus members,
Oh,
and
I forgot
one of
this.
them was Jedi Fallen Order, and Homeboy downloaded and played through that like a beast.
He beat it in like a week or
He did.
two. When we have him on, I'll ask. Which is funny because I'm sorry to interrupt, but I feel so bad saying this. I am awful at playing single player games because I'll play them for a little bit and stop. And I like Jedi Fallen Order. It's a great game. I have yet to finish it. He has, in the time that I have yet to finish it, he has watched all the Star Wars movies, seen most of the Star Wars TV shows. Well, non-animated. I don't think he watched any animated ones. And then also beat fucking Fallen Order in the time that it's taken me to beat Fallen Order.
And the funniest thing was in the office, out of nowhere, once the trailer dropped for Jedi Survivor, he was
so hyped.
Yes, I couldn't believe it. He's like going off about like, oh, we're gonna get to see what so and so goes through. And I remember
he's like,
you
we're
were
gonna
like,
see what Cal goes through. Like, I might pre-order, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
it was funny because somebody said who when he said that, and he goes, "Are you kidding me?" And it was like, what are you getting at? Like, who are you talking about? And you hear Travis go, the main character of Jedi Fallen Order. and so I was like, wow, I never thought we would get this far. So there's a lot for this podcast to celebrate. And I think we can credit,
dude,
that
May's
to part of
coming
our
up.
absence.
May's coming up, May the 4th.
Oh yes,
We gotta have him be on, and we'll do the Star Wars celebration where we have this episode where, I mean, fingers crossed, man. How long did it take us to record this episode? But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Try and get something together.
We'll do a May the 4th convert special edition.
Dude. Yeah, just kidding, because May the 4th is next Thursday. So
all right, so we'll just record it on May. We'll just record it for May the 4th or something. I don't know.
May the 4th celebrated a couple weeks later. Don't mind that.
Also, since we're on the topic of Star Wars, the trailer for Ahsoka dropped.
Yes, they dropped a few trailers. They dropped Visions. Season 2 coming out actually May 4th. I think it's the whole season on May 4th, which it looks like they actually have the animation studio that did Into the Spider-Verse. I'm not 100% sure because I didn't see the official studios listed, but the one of the trailers looked very familiar. I was like, dude, is that the people who did Into the Spider-Verse? Because they got to be doing it. It looked really cool.
Visions.
I'm always excited for that. Hands off, no canon care of just building whatever they want, and it gives great opportunity to a lot of studios to do something with an IP and do something that's like just bold and creative.
Yeah, Visions also. This is gonna sound dumb. I always call that like rainy day content for me. It's watching the last one, especially. I actually got caught up in it because it was just like raining and we weren't going out anywhere. I was like, well, you know what? I've been meaning to watch Visions. Let me check it out.
Yeah, so I catch up on
through that. Yeah, it was just it was a really good like.
Sometimes. I mean, shit. The Visions fucking it blows my mind that in like all animated trailers for like Star Wars: The Old Republic, all this fucking Star Wars footage we ever had, in Visions, they do a lightsaber fight in the rain.
Yeah.
And I've described it on this pod, or I know I've described it to multiple people already.
I know we've talked about it.
But the lightsaber, and it's just like you just hear the sizzling, and it's a Jedi and a Sith just focusing on each other, eye to eye, and it's just burning off the saber. That's such a cool aesthetic that has just not been done.
Yeah, it's so realistic too for something that's animated that.
And that's just that's the thing that's like, you can look at it and you just go, that's cool. That's super cool.
One of those like rainy day watch throughs that I like the most. That
it's good. Some Star Wars on the back burner that like, man, I could go for some Star Wars content. But I mean, not to
lit about everything that's coming out. And I'm also a little nervous because it seems almost like a daunting task to make and find the time to watch through all the things. I'm going to get crap for this. I'm not caught up on Mando. I'm a terrible person for that, but I think that's the story of the pod, if I'm not mistaken. I think there's like another episode where you're like, what was it?
Obi-Wan or Boba Fett? Or no, Andor.
It was one of them.
Oh, it was Andor.
But I mean, I did get caught up.
We are talking about you with like fucking kids, and then I don't. I'm watching it on like the release week, like a fucking gremlin.
You know, it's funny though, because with Mando, we all managed to sit down and watch through it together. I have one child that makes me nervous. I think she's low key spacist. That's the eldest.
Is it just Star Wars or other space movies? Or?
Well, so here's the deal. These are her words exactly.
Oh God, no, please.
Yeah, I know it's going to hurt.
I can take it.
Okay. Just consider this like a light slap on the face. So we're watching it and she wasn't really paying much attention. We're like, you know, do you want us to just stop and we'll pick it up? She goes, no, you know, I enjoy it, but you know, I just don't like it as much as I do Marvel. And
that's fair.
It was in that moment where I looked at her and said, get out of my house. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's the day I lost a child in my eyes. I joke. I know it's a joke, but
that is the day I failed my child. I realized.
I feel like that's a perfectly fair assumption because, you know, like.
So the other thing is, I give her a hard time about it, but she also makes sure to stress to me. She's like, I don't hate Star Wars.
Well, yeah.
She's like, some of the storylines in it don't appeal to me the way storylines in Marvel do.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, because I think she's very much into Mando. Boba Fett, she seemed a little disinterested in.
Yeah.
Andor, I'm not even gonna lie. I took it on myself to watch Andor by myself. Kim is actually slowly but surely working her way through that series right now.
Yeah, that's a great series.
Yeah.
I just cut you off for something I fucking forgot. Fuck, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's perfectly normal. And it's not like we have a ton of people here that like fill in that moment.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Union break when we're all at each other's throats.
Just yelling at each other.
Yeah, I mean.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I think it was the fact that I was going to say like Boba Fett being. I would get Boba Fett because it is like I mentioned earlier, super slow towards the end. And I didn't truly like Boba Fett. I mean, I liked it, but I felt like it was kind of like underwhelming. But there's a YouTuber called Ben from Canada, and he does like film essays and stuff like that. I would highly recommend his Boba Fett episode because it kind of explains the path that he takes and explains like a lot of the actions he's trying to do. And then explains the finale when he does do what he finally does. And it wove it in a way that I just didn't see it. I just thought like this and that. And then it made more sense when I watched that. And it gave me appreciation for it. But I will still say it feels kind of slow towards the end, even knowing.
Was the storyline dry for you at all?
Dry? I think it is because he's like, I'm going to butcher the video, but in the video, he basically says like, it's Boba Fett trying to do good like he did by the Tuskens, which is why you see that quick character growth in succession with the Tuskens.
Right.
But then he chooses to try to lead these people, but he tries to do it with respect and try to be nice, and it doesn't really work out. He's not trying to use force. He's trying to do what's right for the people. And he does it in slow, methodical actions of what he thinks are good. Mm-hmm. And then eventually towards the end, when he does, spoiler alert, go kill for Cad Bane and stuff like that, and like bring the Rancor to like fight it. It's like, it's supposed to be like him realizing that like he can be the ruthless killer that he was, but he needs to do it on terms that are for these people. Don't be
Yeah.
a nice person for this. And I know that's a really simple message, but Ben from Canada, YouTube, Boba Fett video, watch some of his other videos, give him a sub. He's a really great, really talented fellow when it comes to like video essays on either movies or television show. And I really enjoyed that one.
Speaking of YouTube, our podcast is now on YouTube.
Segue.
Yeah, we're on YouTube now. It doesn't sync up like it will for podcast platforms, but you can be assured that at some point when an episode releases, it should auto generate and post that for everybody. So those YouTube people out there, we're on there.
And I noticed, because I'll be honest, I don't know when you uploaded everything, but I didn't notice until you texted me today saying like, oh, by the way, it's on YouTube. I was like, oh, that's sick. So I look at the YouTube channel, I'm looking around, and I look at the shorts.
Oh, the gaming chair.
And I was laughing because like, I don't know how much you've caught up with it because of bringing up YouTube. Since we've recorded that podcast, I made a comment and the short basically said something along the lines of talking about playing COD and how Nate and Travis we used to get very upset with the game and rage at it. But I would be very calm because I go in the mindset knowing that I suck at video games and I'm not expecting to do good. And I said, sometimes they're just better than you. And I said, they just got better, or they just got a better gaming chair. I don't know how much you've kept up with it, Nate, but since that has come out, there has been AI cheat detection engines. There have been like big videos of like people who cheated to expose cheaters for certain games, such as Escape from Tarkov. I can't remember the YouTuber off my name. I think it's like the GOAT or something like that. Look up GOAT cheating in Tarkov. You'll get it. Mm-hmm. And he basically figured out that like with wall hacks, he was trying to figure out if people had wall hacks, and in the game you can lean left or right, and it's like a wiggle, and it's supposed to be like you're friendly in the game. So he was doing the wiggle, and if you have wall hacks, you can see him wiggling. Mm-hmm. So they would wiggle back, and that's how he would determine his number of who had wall hacks, or he learned how they played over time. And like how a cheater would play, because they wouldn't know where everyone is. They'd either avoid them or start looking at a line. But people who played naturally would be looking like, oh, head on a swivel always. And those were the people with the high KDs, was head on a swivel, always looking every way, because they were legit keeping their corners clear.
Yeah.
In Escape from Tarkov, because I know we've talked about it's a pretty hardcore game. He figured out, I think, like 1 1/3 player cheat in Tarkov.
Holy crap.
Some great, like I think maybe it was like 1.5. Like it was a crazy big number. Like have some form of cheats. So like after that came out, and there was like a big like they have AI cheat detection engines where like those AI cheats that like you can make it look more natural. They have AI detection engines that tell if someone's cheating now. So all this came out, like a lot of big cheating things came out from video games, and I was laughing because I was like, I just watched that short clip today. I was like, dude, this aged like fucking milk.
Oh my gosh.
Like, better gaming chair? No, dude, I take it back, bro. Shit's fucked.
And touching on games too, a lot has changed since that episode, because our discussion, we were talking about not only playing COD, but Fortnite. And I've been neglecting that game because as of recent, your boy picked up No Man's Sky.
Yes,
and
sir.
I have been no-lifing that.
Yeah, because you came to me, and I know you were talking about Star Citizen.
Yeah.
And I don't own a copy of Star Citizen, but I've played a few free plays, and I keep up on the updates of it. And I know it's not coming out anytime soon. And I'm pretty sure I gave you that. I was like, it's going to be a sick game. And there's some gameplay loops that are out right now. Yeah. They just released an update that I didn't even play the free play or the free fly, because they added a persistent universe. Tons of people who are talking about this. I'm not going to get into it. And I was like, it's definitely not the time, my friend. Maybe give it a little bit, and maybe get like a little better of a computer and get something ready for it. And then I remember you asked, and I was like, what's the alternatives? And I was like, because I know Travis had it and he didn't like it because he played No Man's Sky when it came out. And for those who don't know, it came out and they promised a lot of things that weren't there. Since then, they have done nothing but free updates and have completely redeemed that game. And it's absolutely amazing with the amount of stuff they've added. But Travis played it when it first came out and he didn't like it. And I remember recommending it to you. You bought it instantly. And I was like, I played on my PS4. It didn't work. It was on half sale. So I bought it for the PC. I love it on the PC. Oh my God. It's so much. The menu navigating so nice. And then you got Roberto into it, and then Travis got into it.
Yeah. Fun. It's a fun cycle of how things happen. I do want Kim to check it out. But I also know that she's been on a journey of her own, and she will eventually be on an episode. She, with her schedule though, with school, obviously, like we said, some days you'll catch her on an episode, other days you might not. And in these situations too, she's working on some guest lists to sit in for her. So there's always a third person too for us. But she's been in God of War now. So she's been working her way through that. And
is it just the series or is it just the new Ragnarok?
So it is the series.
Oh, damn.
I have Ragnarok. I started playing that, but obviously No Man's Sky has consumed my soul. So
it is a game that there's a lot to do.
And it's funny because that game came free with Ragnarok came free with my PS5, and I played about 3% of the game before jumping into No Man's Sky, and just absolutely.
What's the hours looking like on No Man's Sky? Do you have your hours?
I don't. I wonder. I'll have to see if I can actually pull it up. Maybe I can pull it up on the PlayStation app. But man, I don't think I've clocked my top two people who I know have clocked a lot of gameplay and time into it. You're obviously number one. Because you drop up in that thing and you've got like this massive freighter that
I just looked at it now and I had 54 hours on the PS4 and I couldn't transfer the money, but I transferred a lot of my items to my character to try and get some of the progress. And then I have, I think, around like 38 hours on the PC now. And I did play it a lot before. It is a game you need the wiki for, I feel like, because there is a lot of things that you have to look up. I actually threw a few hours in waiting for the podcast to start. They put a new update where you could find different like Sentinel ships, and I was trying to find. I got one, and all that.
That game, it's just taken everything. I don't have my gameplay hours. I will have to get those for the next episode. But it is a blast. I have thoroughly been enjoying it. I also love that, you can just kind of kick back and everybody can chill and thoroughly enjoy the game. You can just have like casual chats, or you're talking about, what you're out there on the hunt for.
Yeah, it's very much a drop in, drop out process of just, I want to build a base next to you. We're building bases. I got to go to like another solar system to get something. Yeah. Leaves and just joins back in your session, which is like super nice because
Travis would be a good example of the type of person who, like, because of its flaws initially on release, they don't want to go back into that game and check it out, especially when like updates have been released.
I get it, because he pre-ordered and bought it new, and there's a lot of people, I believe, who are still like that, who have bought the game and didn't want, like, I mean, for those who are not aware, they straight up promised a multiplayer experience, and all this crazy stuff. And you can tell by the way the multiplayer plays now, it's not fully jiving 100%. Like, you can warp to the same place, but you can't really see each other all the time, even if you are friends, where if you are friends on the same planet, you should see each other regardless. Up to 16, I think they say. But they're like, in the originally, like, you just saw orbs. If somebody was around you, maybe possibly you saw orbs. And it wasn't until like a lot of updates and a lot of love and a lot of TLC did they add a lot of the things they originally promised, and then a lot more. So I get getting the feeling of getting screwed, you know.
I'm totally satisfied with that game. It's been a lot of fun to play. It's been a break away from the huge, which it has been Fortnite. And the funny thing is I've been keeping up on my challenges with Fortnite.
Oh, that's good.
But I've not been putting like the energy into the game.
The grind.
Yeah, like just like I was sitting there and I was like, man, I really love these skins, want to get them, but am I going to get the time to put into the game? I don't know, and
I will shout out Fortnite this though. Last season they brought it where you could only do the challenges during a certain week. Mm-hmm. This season it looks like they brought back, I haven't played a lot, they dumped the challenges, you complete them when you want, you get the XP when you want.
Yeah, I was really bothered by... That was a dumb
fucking change, and I'm glad they swapped back.
I was really bothered that they did that. It just made me feel rushed to do my challenges, and honestly, it made me rethink if I wanted to... Yeah, it made me rethink if I wanted to even buy the Battle Pass. I actually waited, I think, like a couple of weeks before getting the Battle Pass for this season, because I was just like, no... I want to see what they do. Otherwise, I'm kind of looking for something else. And I think for a while too, we were doing Call of Duty. We were doing DMZ.
I know DMZ season 2 came out and they did the reset, and we've never went back to it. They're on season 3 now. We missed all. Are they season. Really? I think it's season 3 already. Yeah.
Holy crap! So I did play a little. Roberto and I both played a little bit of DMZ, and I was like, man, I do enjoy this. Like, this is another one of those games where it's like, I don't mind breaking it up and playing it. We did do the new island.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, it's a smaller island, quicker match, which can be, when it's like 2 of you, that quicker match is amazing. When it's more than 2 of you, I feel like the game is more enjoyable. I think you can only play it in trios anyway, right?
Yeah, they don't let you do quads. And I know they said they're not looking to change anything like that anytime soon.
But I mean, well, see, that still doesn't make sense to me, because you can invite people to join your squad. You can
get a 6-man squad going.
Yeah. So if you've got 4 people,
if you ever come up to, just
we did it once.
Well, we were on the 6-man squad,
right?
But I'm saying, like, if you were like, say you go into El Mazrah,
and you run into those dudes,
you're just a single player chilling. Like, man, I just got my 3-plate. I'm chilling. And then like 6 people show up and just fire at you from all possible directions. Because I remember there was like 3 strongholds next to each other. Yeah. And strongholds and DMZ or something, you got to get keys for. You go through the doors, you clear it all out, and then you get to loot and stuff like that. And with 6 dudes, we go through a building. We cleared them out in like 5 seconds flat. Like, there was just, we just run and gun, because you'd run 6 people into a room, different sides of the door, and the AI just like looking like, oh shit. And then it's like anyone has an angle on them. You lose plates, and you can never get enough plates for all 6 of you to get up unless you buy them. But I mean, you just tear through people.
My thought is, like, if you can get a crew up to 6 people, right, you should be allowed to have a lobby up to 6.
I think it might get unfair, though.
In this scenario, even if you did like a trios version and a quad, and then you cap out that you can only have 2 other people join up with you, to make that 6 cap.
I think it's like the thing is like the game developers don't like splitting up spawn pools, especially when they're adding more maps and splitting the people as is. Like, because if you make it where you can go in 4 or you can go in 6, now that dude who goes in as 1 is even more down and out when he finds those groups. And then you could make it where it's like 1 to 3 squads or 4 to 6 squads here, but then you split it even further, and then do you do that for both maps? Do you just do it for the bigger map? And then it's just a headache all around. So I get the reason they do it. It really sucks to have 4 people playing the game and then having to run 2-mans and then be in a party all together talking, and then you're talking about what's happening in your game and they're talking about what's happening in the game, and it's just kind of a stepping on toes situation. Because I remember there was a one point you and me you get special key cards going to a place called Building 21. You and me are Building 21, and Travis and Roberto are talking about whatever, and we're like, dude, we gotta mute these fucking guys. I can barely hear what's happening.
There was one DMZ in particular, and I think it was, actually, I don't know if you were playing that. No, you were playing that one. And I remembered getting wiped out. Was it me, you, and Roberto? Maybe. Or was it me, you, and Travis? Either way, we had this like trio going, and we jump into DMZ. We get murked by the squad, and then they invite us all onto the thing. And then we had this glitch. So obviously we would hear everybody on the crew. And so it was chaos because like everybody's talking over one another. And then you had, when somebody was in the same building as you had proximity chat.
Yes.
And you would hear all the voices going on, and it was torture.
So that was me, you, Roberto, and Travis when we were playing. That was Warzone. We were playing.
That was a straight Warzone that we did. Okay.
And I remember there was like another quad team, and it was in the beginning of Warzone when it dropped, and not a lot of people knew that you had to turn your proximity chat off. Yeah. So they're in the other building. We're on the top of our building, and they're like, "All right, guys," we got to move out now. Let's go push them. 3, 2, 1, going through the door. And we're just like listening to them talking. Yeah. And it's like, dude, we know you're coming out of the door. Yeah. And we just lit them up, and they just died. And I was like, man, we could hear you.
Yeah, because I remember them saying, 1 on second floor, push second floor, and then they come up and you just hear pop, 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 and they're gone. You watch the kill feed, they're out. And then, of course, you get the audio after they're killed, and they're just like, absolutely.
Dude, one guy literally said, how'd they know we were coming?
Yeah.
They were pre-aiming. They got walls. I'm like, no, you have your proximity chat on, dude. Come on, turn it off.
I heard something about
like a mic thing showing at the bottom. I'm like, come on.
I heard something about proximity chat maybe coming to Fortnite, and
proximity chat's funny. I don't use it, but like just hearing people just like not realize proximity chat's on, it's just kind of funny.
Especially for memes. But I remember earlier on wanting proximity chat, like the good old days of Fortnite. I was like, proximity chat would be great, because instead of like going up to somebody and like doing the crouch dance to like befriend them, you could just be like, hey, want to be friends?
Teaming in Fortnite.
Yeah, so
I don't know about that. That's against terms of service.
That is against terms of service.
Sounds like some cheater talk there, Nathan.
I'm talking early on. But early on when you would make friends with somebody like just at random, and you guys would squad together, and at the end it was like one of you
had to do it.
And then somebody would give like the honorable. They would just like murk themselves for the sake of
true lad, or lass.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos like that out there. That game, especially in the like beginning days of the battle royale. But I mean, it's been a quite a change as far as games and the type of games, at least on this end. What games have you been in? I mean, obviously No Man's Sky because of yours truly.
Back on No Man's Sky. I picked up a few, played a few. I just recently played. I know I've talked about it earlier. Dark and Darker had another play test.
Yep.
Dude, fucking like trifecta. So like, Dark and Darker has a play test. There was a free play event for for Star Citizen at the same time, and I just got word of this in my emails, and I missed it. Apparently, last weekend, from the 21st to 22nd, they were playtesting a new Warner Brothers game. They're making a full Quidditch game.
Oh, really?
For Harry Potter, like it's all Quidditch. It looks like it's going to be the 2003 kind of like cartoonish. There was a Harry Potter game they released, World Quidditch Cup or whatever.
Yep.
And this is like the same where but I think you're gonna be able to customize your character this time. No real release on price. There's going to be future play tests. If anybody is interested in trying to get those emails for those play tests, I think it's like World or Quidditch Champions or something like that is the name of the game. Look it up, and they have a website. Use your best eyes. You know what I mean? Don't be throwing your email out anywhere. You can find it through IGN articles and the gaming journal lists, and for a little more security, but they have all that. Just don't go clicking random links. But I signed up for that, so hopefully in the future I could try and play that. It looked pretty cool. Dark and Darker. I mean, there was a whole thing going on with that, with like lawsuits and stuff like that. So they didn't extend the playtest, sadly. They just had a little window of a playtest, but they put some new maps out. I always like getting the feet. In the game, a lot of people, spawn with shoes, so like you're in a wet dungeon floor, so you just hear a lot of fucking bare feet slapping against cold stone. And that's the joke with my brother, is like, you ready to fucking slap some feet on dungeon ground? Let's go. It was always good to do that. They released some new classes, Bard. It's a really interesting mechanic where like you have spells, but you have to play the lute. And you have to click at certain intervals, and if you do it perfectly or within a little zone that's good, the spell is like either really good or like not as good or doesn't work, depending on how good you play the song. So it's like you have to be good. You have to play Guitar Hero basically while you're in a fight to try and make like shit happen. And it's a really interesting mechanic. I like that a lot. They're doing
so
cool
I'm assuming
things
that's your class, right?
I really wanted it to be.
I was gonna say I can see you listening to Bardcore while being
I love me
Bard
some
class.
Bardcore. I love me some Bardcore, but he was very bare bones. I felt like he didn't have a lot of skills and stuff because he was very new. So I get it. But I play the cleric, which is like has a mace, shield, and a staff that you can cast healing spells. And then my brother plays a fighter, which when you give him a two-handed sword, they can do like a little fancy like parry attack, and then they can do a lot of damage with that long sword. And then I can heal him, and I can give damage buffs to him and me. So it's a good combo. So like whenever I can tell, like, and also it's like you're just not used to the class. So like I'm playing the bard, and I'm like, I'm feeling how worse this is versus when I play the cleric.
Yeah.
But so I was playing that. I mean, I did just jump into a ton of games, which is why, like, when we were talking about DMZ, I was like, I also just can't put DMZ in my roster because I'm going to put 2 games out here that I just started playing that are going to be like, people who know will know. Playing Warframe, which if anybody knows, Warframe's a grindy game. It's really grindy, but I don't play it that often. I'm just playing it casually. Every once in a while getting on.
You know what's funny is during the pandemic, at the start of COVID in 2020, I was looking around for other free games and I stumbled across Warframe. And
it's a game you need a wiki for.
Yeah, I downloaded it. I started playing it because people were like, "Oh, it's like Halo or not Halo, Destiny and stuff like that."
It's got that grindy type thing.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll give it a try. I download it, I play it. I was like, oh man, this isn't too bad. I tried to see if like other people would hop in on the game.
Dude, it's
No.
crossplay. I'll play with you.
Oh
If you wanna
shoot,
play
I'll
it.
have to
I'm on
re-download
PC,
it then.
but I'm down to play PS5 too. You probably got some better running systems on it because I know PS4 was a little janky.
It was.
But it's a grindy game, but like the grind's kind of fun. Like the gameplay for the game at least is fun.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't dislike it. Again, I'm not. It seems very spacey, so I'm not of the variety that hates space.
There you go, not spacist. That's a good pro.
And
good.
We got to touch back on No Man's Sky real quick.
Of course,
Travis, who hated all things space.
From what it seemed like, most things space he didn't like. He has been. When this is the joke earlier when I'm saying he's being reformed. Is he's playing some No Man's Sky. He's watching some Star Wars. He's re-getting them. Sooner or later, I'm going to be like, hey, you should watch Aliens again. Give it another shot.
Yeah, and then you know what he's going to say next, right?
It wasn't that bad of a movie. Maybe I'll watch Aliens too. Hey, why don't you? It's not bad. Wait. Yep, no, Aliens 2 ain't bad. Aliens 2 is good. Watch Aliens 2.
And then after that, he's going to look you dead in the eye and go, you want to know something? Jason in space? No.
Jason X, dude? Jason in space?
Jason X, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Nobody's ready for the fact that Jason X or Jason in Space is the best fucking Jason film. Look me in the eye and tell me the laser machete wasn't a cool idea. I wouldn't believe you. You'd be lying to me. You'd be lying. Yeah, following up on games. The other game I'm playing now is fucking PlanetSide 2. Have you had any experience with it?
No, tell me more.
So it's a giant, basically, you have three sides, like a blue team, red team, and purple team. Purple team has alien tech. Red team has fast fire rate, high mag weapons. Blue team has big damage weapons. And that's a very easy, simple synopsis. We're not going to go into details here, lads. Sorry. And ladies. But it is basically, there's multiple continents that unlock at different times, and you jump into these continents, and you have like full out fucking like war. They'll show you what area has how many people in it. There's times that you're in an area where you have 96 plus of your team fighting like 96 plus of the enemy team. And you have 200 people sitting there waging absolute war with tanks, air support, like mobile spawn units and stuff like that, bases. You have orbital strikes. You've got like all these different things that you can build, and like you can build bases into it and try and like press the advantage or set up defenses or different types of things. And it's, like I play a medic where you can revive people. There's a giant like mech with like big guns on it that you can outfit to either deal damage to people, like tanks and stuff like that. But it's like, and you can get like huge squads together. Like your squad tab, like I squad with just my brother. It's just me and him, and it's not the full experience. But your squad is not like a 4-player squad. Your squad tab is a squad tab with you, like 4 different squads that can have 4 people in it. And that's how big a squad is. And then on top of that, you have clans that can have a lot more people in that. And like you can orchestrate full units and basically stuff like that. Like we were just playing, me and him, and we were fighting in a big conflict. And you see on the horizon that there's 2 mobile spawn units rolling in formation with 4 tanks and 2 fucking 8 like Humvees with fucking guns on it. And you're like, dude, that's some work. Like they're in formation, and like, dude, they're like doing something over there. I don't want to be a part of it. But like, and there's moments where it's like I joke with him and I'm like, dude, you want to bang your head against the wall for a few hours? Because there's some things like where it is war and you are throwing bodies at the problem, trying to pushing through this zone to capture it and get the most zones, and eventually the continent closes, and whoever has the most zone gets the most points. You get resources for this that you could spend on certain things and upgrades and stuff like that. And and sometimes, but there's moments like you'll be sitting in a rock crevice, an orbital strike comes down, your screen goes fucking out for a second and comes back. Their dust is settling, people are flying away. You get up, you look at the objective, and next thing you know, you got 6 tanks behind you that are pressing forward, and you have like a big push and assault. Like 30 people come from out of the rocks, and you're just like charging dead on through like gunfire, like taking enemies out, freaking taking tower turrets out, storming this building, and you get into the building finally. You put down your spawn beacon, your buddy spawns on you from your squad. Next thing you know, you're pushing through the building. You're in the next room. You're in the next room. You get pushed back a room. You're back in the room. You got medics reviving people in the doorways. People like just falling, and you're just all out warfare. Someone brings a giant mech in, and then you just push the objective forward, like through. Just keep going. And it's like those brief, not brief, because sometimes they expand for long, but it's like those really fun moments of like, yeah, man, we're doing it. Let's go.
That's complete pandemonium.
Oh, it's a nightmare, dude. The sound effects settings, I like turn it down all the time whenever I'm playing with someone because you can't hear shit. You're sitting there like in a menu. I like the spawn truck trying to like change your outfit, and all you hear is
right away.
It's super fun though.
It's like that's my instinct right then and there is first all cinematic and music ends up getting cranked all the way down. I'll give it like 1%, and then sound effects in game I'll cut to like 50%. I'll just be like,
you have to sometimes, dude. It's just so loud.
What did I do that in recently? I think it was Battlefield.
I believe it. Battlefield's one of those games where you just have a ton of things in the background just going off nonstop.
Like I get annoyed with Call of Duty, but they gave Battlefield, what was it, 2042? They gave that as a free game for PlayStation, and so downloaded it, tried it. The only dumb thing, by the way, I just want to address this. The only dumb thing about that game that really like agitated me was the fact that if you have a friend who's on PS5 and you own a PS4, don't plan on playing together because you cannot play together. You cannot squad up if you're playing with your buddy who's on PS5. I don't know why. I don't know what they're...
So the reason you might have issues, and I'm not saying this because I know this is for certain the issue, but I know that PlayStation 4 and previous gens can only play with a certain amount of players. And PC and next gen consoles play with a higher number of players per game. So if you're in a server browser, that might be things. I know there's a big server browser type thing in Battlefield. I don't know if 2042 has it. I haven't played Battlefield since like Battlefield 4 or Battlefield maybe 1.
4 was maybe the last one I ever played.
I mean, 4 was like the bread and butter.
Oh, 4 was
just 4 was amazing. I remember talking with my brother a little bit about it. I'm like, dude, like Battlefield 4 is the only game that like I could get on and play for a whole afternoon. And you just go to like a server browser, you find like Operation Lockout 24/7, and you just chill in that fucking prison level for all afternoon, and then you leave. And you could do it again next afternoon because it was just fun.
That was one of those games that when I picked it up, it actually, there was a time where that was like the only game I had. And
it's a good game to have.
Yeah. And then we ended up getting Skyrim after that. But like Battlefield and 2042, the second I spawned in, all the noise, I turned everything so low.
I was like,
I would much prefer just only hear somebody in our chat breathing into the mic than have to hear all the chaos in game. So it, I'm just putting that warning out there though too for everybody. If for sure, if you've got a PS4 and your buddy's got a PS5 and you guys have picked up that game with the intent to squad up and play together, can't happen.
Yeah, that's wild, dude.
Very much so. It's a disappointment. It was a disappointment because when I got it, I was like, oh, yes, this is going to be a blast. And then right away, it was like, oh, well, I guess we're not playing. It's just the way it goes. The older you get, the less noises you want in your game.
Don't make it an age thing, please. I'm still young.
It's not an age thing. Not at all. Honestly, I just feel like I feel like there's such a thing as having too much going on all at once. And when you're trying to already concentrate on one thing and you've got a million other things that they're trying to have you concentrate on as well, it's just overwhelming and frustrating, and anybody's going to get sick of that real easy. Anything else you got on on your agenda there? Anything else you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I like really only... Another thing was just games coming out. I know, like, I don't know if you've seen it or anything, but there's a game called The Finals that was, it's PC only, I think, right now, but they're doing playtests for it. It's like a really cool first-person shooter where it's like you have some class types where you can get different weapons, and it's like you got to score like these boxes at zones to get money, but the whole environment's destructible. You know what? It's actually a good leaping point because we were just talking about Battlefield. And I know Battlefield 4 was kind of the bread and butter, but before you had Battlefield 4, you had number 3. 3 was a real big hitter. I don't know if you played 3, but the people I believe who made Battlefield 3 are the people who are making, like, not everyone, but like a good couple of developers from there are now making this game called the Finale or the Finals. And it's like, it has like almost everything is destructible. Like, you know, in Battlefield where like you couldn't blow the objective up. In this game, if the objective's in the roof 2 stories above, you blow the 2 floors, it comes down to you on the ground floor. You know what I mean? Like, you can just wipe the whole level out by, like, and then you can build, like, foam areas up that, like, an expanding building foam. So it's like, I blocked this way out, but they can blow in this wall. They can come in this way. And it's just, it looks really cool. And of course, you got the people from Battlefield 3. I mean, they knew how to do the destruction. That was like the first, I feel, not the first, what am I talking about? They had it all the way in Bad Company. But I feel like that was like Levolution, I believe, was in the first Battlefield 3 is what I'm actually trying to get at. Yeah. Levolution. Balanced for lean. That game was balanced for lean. Or was that Battlefield 4? I forget which one tagline they're like. One of the buzzwords for it was because you could lean over corners and stuff like that, which a lot of games had. They were like, the game is balanced for lean. And it's like, what the fuck does that even mean? And then the only other thing is that my brother actually brought this game up to me. It's called Meet Your Maker. Oh. It is a first-person, post-apocalyptic, I'm reading this off the description, building/raiding game where every level of the game is designed by players. And you can play it solo, or you can play it with a friend and like co-op. But like you make outposts in this desert environment, and you build it with traps and enemies, and it's supposed to be like based off of what looks like a fast-paced Doom Eternal type style of gameplay. You know, like you got like melee builds and gun builds and stuff like that. And players like make levels. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Looks like they're teaming up with Dead by Daylight too.
Yeah. I think they might have been the same producers. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Could be wrong. But
it looks cool as all heck, man.
Yeah, it's really neat because like you build your own labels, people build levels, you got to beat those levels, then you get resources which you can spend. You can even turn on a mode where like when you get raided, it doesn't make it so you lose supplies, but then you could play that way where you lose supplies if someone beats your thing, which puts it kind of like in a more hardcore mode. But it's like it's fully controller supported, like co-op online for 2 players, and you can do like co-op little mazes and stuff like that. I don't have it yet, but it just came out like the 4th of this month. I've been looking at it. I'm like, hey, it's definitely on there for the next one of the next games I'm getting.
Yeah, it looks like it's out for PlayStation as well.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's crossplay.
We're about.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. It's PS4 Pro Enhanced, PS5. Is this a free-to-play game?
No, it's like $30.
I was gonna say because there's a. Wow. I'm gonna have to check this bad boy out some more.
It does not support crossplay or cross progression.
Ah, that's garbage.
You can share content cross platforms, but you can't play with each other.
Garbage.
Yeah, it's really sad. I know a lot of things nowadays. You know what I mean?
Incredible. I know, too, as far as games we're looking forward that come out, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up AEW and their wrestling game.
Oh, yeah. Is that like a con that I watched WWE a little bit when I was younger, but AEW, is that like, are they finally getting some competition, or?
AEW is, I like it a lot more than WWE. And I grew up watching that.
AEW or WWE?
WWE, because AEW is very new. It's got, Chris Jericho, Sting. There's a lot of like Matt Hardy, I believe, is in there. So it's got some of like the OGs from when I was watching wrestling. And it was, and it was over when everybody was in lockdown and we're all home. I started watching it. Travis additionally started watching it, and he was like, "Dude, did you watch AEW the other night?" I was like, I kind of tuned out. And he's like, "You have to see some of the finishers they do." He's like, those things are crazier than anything you'll catch in WWE. And sure enough, he was right. It's just got so much better of a feel, and it is so much more entertaining to watch than what WWE was putting out. So, and then Travis and I had been playing some WWE games, and none of them were really like meeting the mark. They were glitchy. The graphics just were, because it's 2K games, so
boo.
Exactly. So
motherfuckers just copy and pasting every year, putting a dude down box art. Exactly.
It just, nothing felt like original. Like the OG WWE games prior to this like series of them, they were a lot of fun. But AEW is dropping a game called Fight Forever. The question is, when is that game coming out? Because I know it's been pushed multiple times, and they're still saying it looks like.
Yeah, they're just saying 2023.
Yeah, they're still saying 2023. Initially, they said the first half of 23. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get it in June or July. But the game looks. If you watch some of the trailers, the game looks amazing. It like ups the game for a video game for wrestling, and it very much reminds me, and I think it's because it's made by the people who previously made WWE's games, but it reminds me of the earlier WWE games.
I was gonna say it's by THQ Nordic, if I remember, and they made a lot of games when I was younger.
They did.
Like a lot of those.
Yep, and I believe they were ones behind WWE as well.
Really? Because if I'm remembering correctly too, and this isn't just about the game, this is about the AEW. I can't remember if it was you that was telling me, or maybe Travis, but it was like one thing that they hit with the AEW was the fact like they were going back to the old kind of like the old school what made wrestling like cool when you were kids and stuff like that over the top macho man personas that were like larger than life in a way. Am I wrong on this or
what he was saying that about WWE or he was saying that about AEW?
AEW. I can't remember if it was you, Travis, or just someone else talking about it.
No, that was definitely Travis, and I don't disagree with him. The storylines, everything is to the standard that I loved about wrestling when I was younger. And there's also the humor aspect. There's a wrestler, his name is Orange Cassidy, and hands down, he is one of my favorite wrestlers just because of it's how he fights and it's the persona he's got, and you have to watch it to understand. But and obviously Sting has always been a favorite of mine as well. And when he showed up in AEW, I was like, oh, that's it. It's all over. And, you have Chris Jericho, who's a great performer. You can tell he puts everything into what he does in wrestling. And, it's just very entertaining. It's like, it's wrestling the way it was always meant to be. And that's that, like, whereas WWE is just watered down, grasping at straws, and now look, now they sold themselves off to what was it, UFC's parent company.
Did they really?
Yeah. Yep.
So McMahon's not in charge?
Well, he is in charge. It's just in a different way.
Just under new.
Yeah. It's a whole change. Travis was saying, hey, maybe this will be where they try to like bring things back to make that series of shows entertaining again. But as far as I'm concerned, I mean, AEW has really met the mark. Yeah, it's worth a look, and I would say keep an eye out for Orange Cassidy in that, because you'll get a good chuckle out of his style of wrestling, or when he first gets in the ring, it's an immediate laugh usually. So, but yeah, and I think
Orange
also,
Cassidy.
Yeah. There were a couple of there were a good amount of WWE defectors. Also,
they went to like AEW or whatever.
AEW. They went to AEW and then they went back. I think Goldust is in AEW. Cody Rhodes, I think he used to be on AEW. Yeah, so both of the Rhodes brothers departed from AEW. But it's a good show. Definitely check that out. But I am excited for Fight Forever when that comes out. That will be a game that I want to pick up, and it just takes me back to.
Apparently Dustin Rhodes is under AEW.
Oh,
his brother's WWE on the ring name Goldust, but he's semi-retired at this point.
Yeah, Goldust was a G. A little longer of a wait for the game, so we'll see where things go, but it's for sure something I'm looking forward to, and a nice little callback to my younger days of really being a fan of wrestling.
That's dope, man. Yeah. Anything else you're looking out for recently?
That's it right now. I know we got Star Wars stuff coming out. That's going to be another thing I'm watching, but I don't know. There hasn't been much. My brain is fully set to No Man's Sky land. So
man eats, sleeps, dreams. No Man's Sky.
It's true.
Ain't no room besides.
There's always something to do in that game. That's the best part.
Yeah, honestly.
Always something to do.
Yeah. I know for me, I'm going to give a recommendation out. I saw it in theaters, John Wick 4.
Mm.
I know it's coming out maybe July or June to HBO Max. If you have HBO Max, I think HBO
Soon
Max
to
or
be just
Peacock.
Max. It's going to be Max
Yeah,
only.
they're trying to do Max. Why would they go Max, dude? Just go
Well,
HBO. Because everyone calls it HBO instead of HBO Max.
HBO and the parent, I forget, was it Warner Media? They combined. So it's just going to be called Max now, and it's going to host all the Discovery and HBO stuff on it.
That's dumb, and I don't like it.
It's I'll tell you what, it's dumb, but it's one less streaming service that I have to pay for. So I no longer have to pay for Discovery. Now I have it in something that I already pay for.
Whoa, I guess. I know it's only out for pre-orders on digital release, and I think I remember when I looked it up, it was talking about putting it out on, I can't remember if it's HBO or Peacock, or Max and Peacock. I don't know if they gave a date for it, but I will say this, I saw it in the movie theaters. Now, if you like action movies, John Wick is probably like a step above the rest for when John Wick 1 came out, basically revitalizing the action scene fighting genre with the whole crisp, clean camera movements. I will say this, and do you care about spoilers? I don't know if you're really a big John Wick guy.
I'm not. You know what's funny is spoilers don't ever really ruin movies for me.
Yeah. I will say, like, there's the ending of the movie, then please skip a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds, maybe. Or actually, do a minute, too. Maybe I might be rambling in case you don't want the spoilers. In the end, John Wick is in Paris and he's trying to fight his way to a location. Then he has to do something. I'm going to go loose around it. And it has a lot of these cool action sequences, and like the whole movie up until this point has kind of been just like nonstop action. And you would think that you would be getting tired of the nonstop action, but like they just keep fucking elevating it, and they doing it like gradually in different showcases and different set pieces with different ways of fighting, and it's like it's building it up. So eventually he's fighting through an abandoned building, and he's fighting his way, and he's got a contract on him, so there's a lot of people trying to get to him to stop him to go where he's going. And these people with dragon breath shotguns find their way to him, which, if you don't know, it's like basically a shotgun shell that shoots basically fire out and fucking and he gets the shotgun for the dragon's breath, and I shit you not, do you know like those robotic camera arms that like can do pan, tilts, fucking all the things and just do like that? They built the whole set, I'm guessing without any fucking roof, and they build the walls, and it gets to him like coming up the stairs, and you see him coming up these stairs, and he shoots up above him, shoots behind him, because you can see like there's someone coming up there, but then like the camera just fucking tilts like 90 degrees, and you're like, oh, this is like fucking crazy. And then it like tilts, like goes like another 180 and shows you the opposite side on like this giant camera arm it must be, and it's showing you this. I'm like, dude, this is like crazy. And then it feels like a super long take of him shooting a dragon breath shotgun through an abandoned like floor of a building, and it takes it from going like looking one way, going 90 degrees, spinning 180 around to face the other way, to basically just doing a straight top down view of him sweeping through an apartment. So you see people coming from other rooms and stuff like that, and you see him like reacting or get shot, and they're all using dragon breath, so it's like big fire spreads get shot out on this way, this direction, and it looks like a top-down video game, and it's like super fucking like, and also like the music too, because if the people who make I know like in the beginning of the John Wick franchise, the same people who are making the Payday soundtrack, I think, and then Lavania, who is also, or Castlevania, who's also made some Payday soundtrack music. So if you know Payday Assault Wave music, that shit's just fucking like boom, boom, like the EDM kind of like bumping music. And like the fucking music is just like kicking up. The action's just picking up. And it just goes for like, I shit you not, for like 2 to fucking 5 minutes where you just smile like dude, this is actually pretty cool. Like, this is a creative way of doing this, and it's really like just cool. And I was like I was with my dad and my brother, we were both all kind of like in the seats like, yeah, this is actually pretty cool. And I got out and I was like, I don't think I need to say it, but like, that scene was fucking great, right? And they're like, yeah, dude, it's just so good. They like, I commend them. Like, the 4th movie of John Wick, and there's still things that excite. And I know the team that makes John Wick said like, yeah, we had like the original cut of the movie is 3 hours or 3 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. We have the action scenes. We just need to make the story. And they're taking a break from it. I know they're exploring like different things. They're exploring the world of John Wick through like a different Max series, I guess we'll call them now. But I highly recommend John Wick 4 to anyone who is on the fence. I would watch the whole John Wick franchise if you can get it streaming. I think on Peacock you can get them for free with a free Peacock subscription. Excuse me. I think you might have to watch some ads, but they're just so well worth it. Even if it's a movie that you don't even like, just watch. It's like in the background, or if you're just looking something to like do a little popcorn movie and just see how everything works. I'm only describing one scene. Like, I could like, there's multiple scenes that I like from that movie that I could describe and be all so cool about, but I'll leave it at there. I'm not going to talk about the whole movie, but I would highly recommend it. I was pleasantly surprised at how much it was like the 4th movie and being like, all right, this is sick.
I did hear that that is a series to watch for sure.
Definitely is, yeah.
I'm gonna have to check it out, man.
Yeah. I know it's like bunch of like 4 movies for you, so
I mean,
and it's not really something you could watch in front of the kids. So
no, it's not.
I know it's definitely made it harder because I know we've talked about it in the past.
Oh yeah.
Look away now, little Timmy.
Time for bed.
Time for bed. John Wick's poor fucking dog.
I had a coworker who told me I should watch it too. He thought I would like it. I'm like, I'll give it a shot, and then never did. So I mean, and then the one time I did go to watch it, I never got to finish it. So yeah. I mean, it never. At some point I'll watch it. But.
Yeah, definitely good. I know they're doing the HBO Max series. They dropped a trailer for it, and it looks like a bunch of, I don't know if it's disconnected stories, but it's like. One thing cool about the John Wick universe is they kind of have like this underground secret society with like assassins and like this underworld type thing that kind of like they build upon it each movie and this like mythos of it. But and it looks like they're just doing a show about basically one of the hotels that they stay at and provide like accoutrements and stuff like that to the residents. You can't do business on like hotel grounds and stuff like that. It's a big rule, but it looks like it's going to be set in the 70s too. Cause like you could tell like the aesthetic of the John Wicks is like a bunch of like old like there's typewriters and stuff like that versus like new age where it's like different things. And like, I'm gonna fucking talk about it again. God damn it. One of the cool things about, in John Wick 4 is like when he's in Paris, the bounty system in Paris basically is like they're broadcasting like an encoded radio message. Not encoded, but like, you know what I mean? They're like you have to, it looks like they have specific radios for it. And then there's like, they like say things like, oh, this one's dedicated to blah, blah, blah. And like, there's like a double speak, whatever, that people are picking up on it, or like, and it's like saying like the bounty, this one goes out to Mr. Wick for an increased blah 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 blah. But it's but it's a radio host for it,
right.
and it's basically them building a soundtrack for it.
That's pretty dope.
Universe, and it's really cool. It also has a French version of Paint It Black.
Oh shit!
Which they add some like reverb to it too, and like I heard the original version, and then I heard the one they used for John Wick too. Like I listened to it afterwards. It's pretty good too. Plus, I mean everything. The Castlevania. I mean, Blood Code is a fucking track they use, I believe, in the club scene. John Wick gotta have a club scene, and it is absolute a fucking banger. So yeah, like I said, I'm not going to talk about the scenes, but here I am fucking rambling. But yeah.
So like Alex said, skip the the last like.
Yeah, do you just skip the last like 5-10 minutes?
Yeah.
So sorry. Just because like I don't want to be spoiled for John Wick. Just keep skipping. He's still fucking talking about it. God fucking damn it.
No, they skip and then they get a spoiler, and they're just like,
God, no! You're telling me John Wick's dog wasn't a dog the whole time? He was a cat.
It's the last time I listened to these guys. Well, I would say at this point, we should wrap things up.
Yeah, we hit 1:30, so
lots more in store for this podcast. That's for sure.
I know. I just thought of another fucking thing.
We got to do a part 2.
Yeah, we'll do it. I don't know if I have enough for part 2, but we'll bring it up next episode.
Yeah, there's a lot to catch up on, and then we have obviously we still got to bring Rich Brown himself through, exactly. And there's a lot of people I'd like us to chat with on the pod too. That would be fun to bring through. So. Yeah, it's been real. Until next time, everybody, we will catch you for a lot more Pod of Nerds. You can also catch us on socials. We're out there on Instagram, Facebook, Pod of Nerds. We are on Twitter, but Lord knows how much longer that disaster is going to last.
What do you mean, dude? He's rolling it into a... Is that what we talked about last time? Is that what we complained about? What were we talking about? Because we were talking about trains.
That was before that. Yeah, that was the one before the last one. Yeah.
Twitter. I remember we talked about that fucking bullshit.
And yeah, and
it's gotten worse.
Yeah, it's not getting any better. So, and we also, if you can't find us here, I implore you to follow us on YouTube and on Twitch. And if you're not getting something here, I've been doing my best to stay on top of streaming gameplay on Twitch, so you can kind of get a glimpse as to what I'm doing, what I'm playing, and hopefully you'll catch more of that from the rest of us as well. But everything is Pod of Nerds, so check us out, add us, follow us, subscribe, do all the things.
Twitch's Stream of Nerds.
Yeah, well, so Twitch is Pod of Nerds, but it's the thing is called Stream of Nerds. Yeah, so it is Pod of Nerds on Twitch, but we call it Stream of Nerds.
Don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah, look, we've got things going on. There's always a space that you're going to get more and more content and buried treasure from us. You'll find it. So, follow us on the socials and all the things. And thanks for listening. Thanks for waiting this long for a new episode. There's going to be plenty more in the future episodes as well. So we'll catch you next time.
Bye.